It seems like every kid nowadays has a cell phone. And I promise you, not every kid purchased their own cell phone. There's a lot of kids that do pretty well with cell phones, and there's a lot of kids that really struggle with cell phones. So I thought today would be a good day to help parents know how to set some appropriate guidelines for their kids when it comes to cell phone usage. My name is Shiloh Lundahl, and I am a child and family therapist, and I help parents learn how to set and enforce limits effectively with kids while having a great relationship with them. You are watching the Improve channel focused on parenting. Today I wanted to talk about 10 guidelines when it comes to kids having cell phones. First, I encourage parents to not buy their kids cell phones for birthdays or Christmas or any other sort of gift. So why would I encourage parents to not give their kids a cell phone as a gift? Well, because if you give them a cell phone as a gift, they may think that it's theirs. And then if they misuse that phone and you say, "Hey bud, you're misusing the phone. I need to take the phone for a little while." And they think, "What? You can't take my stuff. This is mine. You gave it to me. This is mine. I have the ownership of it. You can't take it." And then it becomes a big issue. So rather than that, it's important that a child understand that the phone is not completely theirs. It's going to be important that you set parameters on that phone. And this brings us to number 2. So the parameter is they need to be able to be respectful in order to be able to use the phone. If they're disrespectful to me, then why would I give them a device in order to be disrespectful to many people? So when a child is being disrespectful, you can just let them know, "Hey bud, you're welcome to use your phone, or you're welcome to keep your phone as long as you're being respectful, responsible, considerate, and it doesn't cause a problem." When allowing a child to have a phone, you may want to say something like this: "You are welcome to use this extra phone that I have as long as you're being respectful, responsible, and considerate, and as long as it doesn't cause a problem." If kids start using the phone and then they start isolating from the family, that can lead to feelings of depression. It can lead to a lot of discord in the family, a lot of disconnectedness. And that's not the reason that you want your kid to be able to use a phone. You want phones to be useful tools in order to help them communicate better, not worse. Additionally, if my child is using their phone late at night, they're not being very responsible because it may make it difficult for them to get up in the morning and to get off to school and other things they need to do. Or let's say they have homework and they're just on their phone and they're distracted, they're playing games, they're texting people, and they're not getting their work done. So that would be an example of a child not being responsible with their phone usage, and they may need to take a small break from it. Or what if we're at the table and we're having a great meal, but I have one of my kids and they're just, texting away and they're completely ignoring everybody at the table? Well, if that were the case, they're not being very considerate to others at the table, and they may just need to take a break from their cell phone. Now, there are also a lot of other little miscellaneous things that a child can do inappropriately with a phone. And so if it causes a problem, it's best just to take a break from it. I've met with several families where kids tend to isolate themselves from everybody else, and they just spend all day in their room on their phones. And a lot of these kids over time develop symptoms of depression. And it can get so bad to where it's like, if I don't have my phone, then I'm going to kill myself. You do not want your kid to get to that point. If they get to a point where they say, "I'm going to kill myself if I can't be on my phone," you may need to take some precautions to make sure that they're safe. Number 3, going back to the first one, when I encouraged parents to not buy phones for their kids, another reason for that is you don't want to buy your kids nice, expensive electronics. And the reason being is kids that get nice, expensive electronics often don't appreciate the electronics, and they may misuse the electronics, or they may just be kind of careless with them and not treat them well. Also, when you buy kids expensive items, a lot of times what you're doing is you're robbing from them the opportunity to go through the struggle in order to earn money so that they can buy those nice things. And that a lot of times can actually hurt them from being able to gain the confidence that kids gain when they put forth effort to earn money to buy some of the things that they want. Also, when you buy them these nice things, you are conditioning them to believe, you know what? These nice things in life, they're just going to come to me. I don't have to put forth the work in order to get nice things. And that can lead to the horrible disease called entitlement. And you do not want your kids to develop entitlement. So don't do it. Number 4, what if your kid buys their own phone? That means that they can do whatever they want with it, right? Wrong. Even if your child were to go out and buy their own phone, let's say they go to school, there's a kid that has an old phone and their parents got him a new phone, and so they're going to sell your kid their old phone. Your kid comes home, hey, I bought this phone from a buddy of mine for $50. Now I have access to the internet. Now I can use my phone at all hours of the day and night. So if a kid is able to acquire their own phone and I find out about this and they brought this into my home, what I do is I just set limits on the things that come into my own home. For instance, son, looks like you just got a new phone. That's pretty cool. Now, I do hope that you realize that even though you've purchased it, you still need to follow the same guidelines and rules that we have with regard to phone usage. You understand that, right? Now, let's say that the child says,
no, it's mine. I can do whatever I want with it.
But you know what? It is your phone. I'm not going to control how you use your phone. However, when you bring something onto my property and into my home, I am responsible for the things that come into my home. So you are welcome to keep that electronic device somewhere else, either at school or at a friend's house, but not here in the home. If you have a hard time living the guidelines that we set forth with regard to electronic use, then you just can't have the electronics in the home. Now, the child may get upset, and that's okay. It is okay for your kids to get upset. When they're upset, it's helpful to slow it down, to listen, to understand, but still maintain the rule. Number 5, what if your child wants to buy their own phone, but they don't have enough money, and you're really trying to encourage them to learn how to work and save so that they can buy some of the things that they want? Something that some parents will do is they'll go in halfsies with a child for some sort of expensive item, such as a cell phone. So this is what it might look like. Let's say the child is working really hard and they want to get a phone, and maybe the phone costs $400. And so you say, well, that seems like a pretty expensive phone, but that's kind of how much phones are right now. And so I'll tell you what, you earn $200 and I'll put in $200. And so we'll go halfsies in on it. And so they're working really hard and they earn that $200 and they come to you.
Hey Dad, I finally earned $200. Let's go get that phone.
Sounds great. Let's go. So you go with the child to the store and you buy the phone. Except this is the important part. Make sure that you as the parent pay the taxes. Why is that? Because if your child comes in with $200 and you come in with $200, then the ownership is 50-50. However, when you pay the taxes, you've actually paid more than $200 for that phone. So you own more than 50% of the phone, which means you have what is called controlling interest in the phone, meaning that you as the parent get to set the limits and the parameters for the phone. Number 6, it's important that you as the parent limit the apps on the phone. There are a lot of apps on the phone that can be wonderful and you can use them to do wonderful things. And there are a lot of apps on the phone that actually are very harmful for your child. There's apps that can access pornography. There are apps that access a lot of language that you don't want your kids to listen to or read or say. And there's just a lot of other adult content or other type of content that you don't want your kids to explore, especially as they're young. So make sure that you limit the apps that they can use, especially right when they get that phone. Number 7, parental controls and limiting content on the phone is a must. As I mentioned before, there's just a lot of things on the phone that can be helpful and also harmful for your children. So not only do you limit the apps that they can access, but you also limit the websites that they can go to. I personally have an iPhone, and in our home, my kids use a lot of Apple products. And one of the reasons is because Apple tends to have better parental controls than other platforms, which is one thing that I have noticed. So as a parent, you can go into the settings and you can allow your child to access only certain websites if you'd like them to, especially at the beginning. It's very, very important. You can also turn the phone off at certain times of the day and throughout the night. So these parental settings are really helpful in order to help your kids stay safe on the phone. Number 8, don't get discouraged when your kids make mistakes with the phone. They're young, they're learning. It's likely that they're going to make a lot of mistakes with the phone. You and I, when we were kids, if we have kids today, we likely didn't have cell phones when we were kids. So we didn't have to go through this learning process. But the world changes, and now we're in a day and age where kids tend to have cell phones at a young age. And so this is something new for us, and it's new for them. So there's going to be a lot of learning that goes around. So it is important that you have patience and that you kind of learn along the way. If you're doing something and you find out that this isn't working very well, I allowed my child to use a phone that I had, and it seems like they're on it all the time. I need to go and I need to change that up a little bit. And one way of doing that is by saying, hey, you know what, bud? I got to apologize to you. I thought getting you that phone or allowing you to use that phone wasn't going to become that much of an issue. But I notice that you use it quite a bit in your room and you're not really coming out and being with the family anymore. So you're welcome to use that phone as long as it doesn't cause a problem. And you staying in your room all day using that phone, that's a problem. So I need you to come out and be with the family more. And when kids do things with their phone, when they make mistakes, I encourage you not to take their phone away forever. Some parents say, that's it, you lose your phone for a month. That's not very good when it comes to repetitive learning, okay? When you are practicing basketball or any other sport, you usually practice something over and over and over again right away. Because if you were to practice shooting the ball and then you don't shoot the ball again for a month or 2 months, what happens is you don't learn through repetition very quickly. So I would encourage parents to maybe take the phone away for maybe a few days or a week, maybe 2 weeks. It doesn't have to be very much longer than that. Even with kids that are very impulsive and that tend to repeat the same mistake over and over and over again, the length of time, making it be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 months, won't really help your kid learn any faster. They need to have some repetition of seeing the phone go away after they make mistakes with it. Number 9, what if when your child has misused the phone and you say, hey bud, I need to have the phone. And your child says,
no, you're not taking it. This is mine.
You don't need to go to such an extreme with your kids and phones. I don't encourage parents to wrestle the phone away from their kids. You know what? If your kids say, no, I'm not giving it to you, don't worry about it. You can delay the consequence because you can get the phone a little bit later. Now, the consequence of not giving you the phone when you asked, that means it's probably going to go away for a little bit longer. That way you can condition them to give up the phone when they've had an issue with it. And by the way, when you take the phone away, don't do it in a mean way. You don't need to go in there and get all angry and frustrated. Give me your phone. I knew of one parent where the child was being disrespectful or whatever. The parent said, give me your phone. She grabbed it and she threw it out the window while she was on the freeway. Number 10, the last guideline that I want to talk with you about is it's important to remember that cell phones are going to be a permanent part of our culture moving forward. So what you want to do is you want to teach your kids how to use them appropriately. You don't need to get angry when they misuse them. You don't need to freak out. What we can do is help them learn how to use cell phones appropriately. And one of the best ways of doing that is to model how to use cell phones appropriately. If when I get home from work, I go straight to my room, take out my phone, and I start playing my game for a while, or I go and I'm reading the news, and it takes me an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, and I'm just completely ignoring my family, I'm teaching my kids that that's how you interact with the phone. So I need to, as the parent, model the behavior that I want my kids to show when it comes to using phones. I hope this parenting tip was helpful for you. A lot of parents really struggle with their kids and cell phone usage. So if this video was helpful, please subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and like the video. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to work hard on getting you a lot of great content in order to help you improve your parenting with your kids. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic day.